My business is boring, but it makes me $78,384.09 per month. That was the average amount of cash collected from my online fitness coaching business in the year of 2025. I'm 25 years old. I'm a fitness coach, and my business is pretty boring, and we'll get into exactly why that is. But the lifestyle that my business has been able to give me is anything but boring. I can travel wherever I want, whenever I want, working from my laptop and my phone. I don't need to listen to a boss that tells me when to come into work every single morning, when to leave, how many vacation days I'm allowed to take. I have autonomy over my own life and how I make money. And that is something that a lot of people really want to have, but they will never be able to have it because they aren't willing to put in the work. They aren't willing to do the boring tasks that are ultimately going to set them free. All right, so let's get into why exactly my business is boring. There's 4 main reasons. Number 1, you are doing what somebody else has already done. That's right. You're not innovating. You're not trying to go out and create a new industry or do something entirely new. Your job is to copy somebody else and just do it. The second reason why my business is boring is because it involves a lot of the basic fundamentals of business. It's not sexy. You're not constantly doing something new and edgy. It's a lot of the same exact things over and over again. The third reason for why my business is boring is because you are doing the exact same actions time and time and again, putting in the same amount of volume on the same mundane things in order to get a certain result. The fourth reason why my business is boring is because you're promoting the same message over and over and over again to try to attract your ideal client. And oftentimes, it's these boring, mundane truths that make it so that people aren't successful in the long term. Because a lot of people expect that the entrepreneurial journey is going to be so incredibly sexy and they're just going to love every second of it. The truth is, guys, it gets really, really boring really, really fast. So let's go back to number 1. You are just doing what somebody else has already done. Your job as a fitness coach is not to reinvent the wheel. Everybody seems to be caught up in trying to do something completely new. A lot of people, when they're first starting out, think that they need to come up with some way to be a fitness coach that is completely different than everybody else. Go look out there. Find somebody on social media, because the truth is, there's a fitness coach that is making really, really good money doing what you want to be doing right now, and they have created a method that has gotten them there. They have done a certain amount of steps in order to get them to that exact spot. And what you have to understand about business and entrepreneurship is the fact that the best businessmen often just copy other businessmen. Why would you try to fix something that isn't broke? Go out there and find somebody who has done what you want to do, figure out how they did it, and go do it yourself. See if you can become profitable doing something very, very similar to what somebody else is doing. And I'm not telling you to go out there and copy somebody else's content word for word to try to become somebody else. We're actually going to get into how you can go about becoming more individual and more unique in the space later in the video. But what you have to understand is that the fundamentals are so incredibly basic. Why would you ever try to reinvent the wheel when there is somebody else out there who has already proven that their system works? Use their own system. And that's why Empire Blueprint is so beautiful. That's the mentorship that I've created with my partner, Dylan, who I run this channel with. And we made a place for fitness coaches to be able to go learn exactly what they need to do in order to scale and build their business online in order to become profitable and start making money working from their phone and from their computer. I personally learned how to build my fitness coaching business from someone else. I do it very differently than the way that I was first originally taught, because over time you start to make tweaks. Things go differently when you do them a specific way compared to how somebody else does them. And that's part of discovering the individuality of your own business, but the framework remains the same. And that framework is what is so important to have as you are continuing the business building process. Now, reason number 2, it's very boring because it's all the basic fundamentals of business. You create a product and then you go out and you find people that are going to benefit from that product. That's it. Period. End of story. Not that sexy. But what you'll understand is that eventually you need to get to a point where you can find somebody else to sell the product for you. There are going to become different tasks that you yourself don't want to have to handle, and then it will become your job to delegate those tasks to other people in order to help the business scale and grow. Now, reason number 3, you are doing the same actions over and over and over again. The same exact inputs time and time and again to get used to your metrics. Whether that's posting a certain amount of videos, reaching out to a certain number of people, starting a certain number of conversations, getting a certain amount of people on calls. Your job is to find consistency in the metrics of the business that are ultimately going to move the business forward. And once you understand what those metrics are, once you are doing the right things, the things that are going to bring your ideal client into your business, you have to continue to press that button over and over and over again. And sometimes you won't even feel like you're doing the right thing because it takes time in order for it to actually work. And that's why it's so important to make sure that you have that foundational understanding of who your ideal client is, the person that you are trying to help, what your offer is, and what kind of work you need to be doing in order to get that person in the door. Reason number 4, you are promoting the same message over and over and over again. A large amount of the work that's involved in becoming an online fitness coach is creating content and making videos. And if you are somebody who's trying to attract a specific client, you need to make that type of content that's going to get that person in the door over and over and over again. And that redundancy becomes incredibly obnoxious to you. It gets irritatingly boring when you have to do something time and time and again, say the same thing time and time and again, but it's exactly that redundancy that will lead to your success. So you have to get rid of this idea that business is sexy and that now you're doing your own thing and so everything is going to be new and everything is going to be exciting. No, it's often the most boring tasks that are actually going to lead to your success. I always tell people, think about a basketball player. I would never describe a professional basketball player's career or job as boring, but they play the same game over and over and over again. They played it throughout high school. They played it throughout college. Now they're playing it every single day. For years, they have played the exact same game, dribbling a basketball, trying to put it into a hoop. You don't think that they get bored of that after a while? The truth is, some of them probably do. But it's in the repetition that they become better, that they master their craft. And that's exactly what you have to do, is get good at making really quality content. Get good at reaching out to your ICA. Get good at herding in the people that are going to benefit from the product that you have to sell. Your message will have to stay the same for years if you want to continue to grow your brand and continue to promote what you are trying to promote. Oftentimes, the idea of making money off of fitness and monetizing something that you are passionate about gets people in the door to say, hey, this is something that I want to pursue. But as time goes on, they realize, oh, in order to be successful with this, I have to enter into that same monotony that you get when you're working a 9 to 5 job. You still have to put in the same amount of discipline. You still have to hold yourself to an incredibly high standard. This is exactly what happened to me when I was a personal trainer. I was somebody that really enjoyed spending time in the gym. And so I thought, well, let's make it so that I can make money while I'm spending time in the gym. So I went and I got my in-person personal training certification, and I started working at a local gym. Then I realized that 7 hours of back-to-back sessions with clients where you're trying to make small talk, taking people through workouts, gets incredibly old, incredibly fast. And what you have to realize is that if you go online, that will become much more scalable. And that's why you see so many personal trainers switching from in-person training to online training, because oftentimes you can help a lot more people while still getting them incredible results. But it's that monotony that is so incredibly important, but it's also why so many people fail. Going through your metrics, looking at how many leads did I get this week? How many leads actually ended up hopping on a call? How many of those calls actually ended up closing? It's these types of metrics that are so basic, but you should have a grasp on them to understand exactly what is going on in your business. Don't let the boring scare you away, because it's exactly what is going to allow you to live the life that you actually want and make a lot of money. So embrace the boring. And if you're somebody that's interested in joining Empire Blueprint and learning how to build and scale your online fitness coaching business, if you're somebody that's passionate about fitness and you want to monetize that, you want to capitalize on that, you want the locational and financial freedom that comes from starting an online fitness coaching business, make sure to apply to join Empire Blueprint down in the description below. Make sure to drop a like on the video if you enjoyed. Drop a singular thumbs up in the comment section if you watched all the way through this video till the end, because if you did, you've got an attention span of steel, my friend. And I'll see you guys all in the next one.